Hey, what's up guys, so General's Best here. In this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not you should buy the new iPad. Now, a lot of people are having some different mixed emotions about this new iPad after Apple announced it, and I'm going to address that here in a little bit later. But I'm going to get out the obvious reasons why you should or should not buy it. Now, if you have an iPad 1 or if you never owned an iPad, this is going to be the perfect time for you to upgrade to the new iPad if that's your choice. The new iPad versus the old iPad, of course, it doesn't have a camera. Processing power is definitely going to be very, very improved, and you're going to be able to run some better applications, and overall design is going to be better as well. So if you had the first iPad, never owned a tablet, great for you. Now if you had the iPad 2, it's not a solid, slam dunk upgrade for you, because I mean, me personally, I have the iPad 2. I really find nothing wrong with it at all personally. As far as performance wise, it still runs smooth, applications still open up fine. I still can run a lot of cool games and things like that in different apps, and it works just fine. But if you are looking for a better camera, if you really are liking that new display, I think those would be the two main reasons why you want to upgrade from the iPad 2 to the new iPad. But again, everything else, I don't think it really is totally necessary as an upgrade from the iPad 2 to the new one. Now that being said, it still is up to your personal choice and what you're looking for if you want to have to really have the latest and greatest. Now, a lot of people out there say that they were disappointed with this new iPad that Apple announced. Say that Apple is losing its touch. That Apple is not keeping up with all the new Android tablets out there. And what I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna read some comments that I had on my video, and I did the recap of the entire Apple event. So I'm just gonna read these comments to show you what some people are thinking about this new iPad. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but I'm just gonna read some of the comments. First comment, not buying, nothing really improved. The processor is still dual core and just slightly better camera and better screen, the end. Slightly better camera, slightly better screen. And the next one says, Android is 100 times ahead of Apple. The only reason Apple released a new iPad is because they got worried. HTC and Samsung are really getting their stuff together with the new 1.5 gigahertz quad-core CPU and graphics. Android is also 100 times more customizable and yada, yada, yada. And this last part I really didn't understand. They said the Samsung Galaxy S2 sold around 4 million units, and only about 2% had to be returned for repairs, when Apple's side is about 50% of the units were either faulty or damaged. People are actually saying this, people. I'm not making this up. People actually believe this. 50% of all the iPads or whatever he's talking about, or iPhones, whatever he's talking about, had to be returned. I never heard of that before. Other one is, let me see. Good recap. This one just blew my mind. A good recap. But what is missed is that Apple, in that Apple, they have reached their pinnacle, and not unlike other tech companies, they are now caught. Is, I guess, in the same predicament as Nintendo, Sony, Nortel, etc. So he's comparing Apple to Sony, Nintendo as far as, I guess, their performance. If I look at their stock prices, it'd be a little bit different. But the upgrades are nothing more than adding horsepower to what is already a powerful device. And this will not be enough for consumers to part with their hard-earned money. The Playbook 2.0, the upcoming Windows 8 Android tabs will crush this iPad with far more value and added innovations, and so on and so on and so on. When I look at this new iPad and Apple, the way Apple updated it, I think they did all the necessary upgrades to it. They basically doubled what the iPad 2 was. I mean, the video quality from the cameras is basically doubled. The display is basically doubled as far as just the resolution and the overall quality. The internet speeds, by adding 4G and LTE on both AT&T and Verizon, you have a choice. Most tablets only offer 4G from Verizon because AT&T's LTE network is still being built up for the most part. You have a choice, but they basically doubled the internet speeds. And I don't know about doubling the processing power, but they vastly improved it, though. We have to wait for people to do their own little speed tests and all that stuff with it. But from the games I saw, as far as the game demos that they showed off during the presentation, the graphics look really awesome. So I think Apple did all the necessary upgrades with this new iPad, but for some people, it's not enough. I think people fail to realize that Apple just introduced the first iPad 2 years ago. It's only been 2 years since everybody wanted a tablet. Before the iPad, nobody wanted a tablet at all. So Apple's not going to be able to make those type of leaps in technology, every 2 years, every 3 years. Maybe once every 5 years, we'll see. But not every 2 or 3 years they're going to be able to create a brand new product of a brand new product category. Now that all these companies are investing millions of dollars into, go ahead and make like they did with the iPad. So I think people's expectations are way higher for Apple than any other company out there, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But you really couldn't. I mean, what were you expecting Apple to do? I mean, the only thing I can see people saying, "Oh, it doesn't have quad core in it, just like some other Android tablets are going to be having now," and it doesn't have, or Tegra 3 and things like that. My feeling with I think that Apple will never win the paper war, meaning that on paper, you can compare Apple versus a whole bunch of new tablets that come out this year from Android, Windows, and things like that. Spec-wise, you would say, oh man, they're blowing the iPad out of the water, eventually. But I think that when you actually look at the execution, that's where Apple sets itself apart from. And a lot of people were saying that they rushed through this presentation. They talked about the iPad hardware-wise very briefly, but they talked mostly about software. But I think they did that for a reason, right? Because with the iPad, you have so many things you can do because of the application, the App Store. There's so many good developers out there making applications for it. And that's what is going to separate it from a lot of other different Android tablets out there. I mean, there are tablets like the Transformer Prime, which is probably the best Android tablet out there right now, which is a really solid piece of hardware. But if you look at it, it has Tegra 3, it has all that stuff, but what games and what applications can you really download and play and really take advantage of? It's not really that big of a selection to choose from. And so I feel like, with the iPad, there's a lot of stuff you can do. And with other tablets out there, and especially a lot of tablets that come out this year, they could correct this. Most of those tablets are what you could do. And what Apple showed off is that applications just like iPhoto, which it was probably the big surprise of the event, and that was just nobody could predicted that, but their software for the iPad just really runs great. It's very functional, or applications and games and stuff like that are very entertaining. And with other tablets that are out right now, are going to be coming out, they will have all the hardware in the world, but it just, on a day-to-day basis, what can you really do with it? It's only so much improvement a quad-core processor can do as far as you sliding through the OS and moving your widgets around. But if I don't have any applications that can take advantage of that quad-core processor, or if that NVIDIA Tegra 3 or Tegra 4, whenever that comes out, what's the point of it? So I'm getting off, on a little bit here, maybe a little bit of a rant, but when I look at the iPad, it still is the #1 tablet. And some people will say, look at your shirt. Of course, you'll say that. This is shirt, just a joke, but almost true, right? But anyway, the iPad still is the #1 tablet. I mean, the iPad 2 is still technically the #1 tablet out right now, and it's been out for over a year. Companies have had a long time to really make their tablets competitive, but the iPad 2 is still basically the #1 tablet out right now. And that thinks of just think of the longevity of the iPad 2. A whole year has gone past, but still is not a clear-cut winner of a tablet that's better than it. So I think with this iPad 3, Apple's continuing on the process of making the tablet better. And of course, when iOS 6 comes out, I think that's when we'll be able to see a little bit even more software being able to take advantage of this new iPad hardware and stuff like that. So bottom line, if you don't want the iPad because A, you're satisfied with the tablet that you have now, B, you're an Android person, C, you have the iPad 2 or something like that, and it's just not enough of an upgrade, that's fine. But for everybody out there who's saying this tablet sucks, this update sucks, the iPad is not keeping up with the industry and all this stuff, you're totally not looking at the big thing. And I even saw somebody left a comment that it still doesn't run Flash, even though Adobe has killed off mobile Flash. People still think that the iPad doesn't run Flash, and that's a negative thing. So again, people, just take a step back, relax. Look at the iPad, look for what it is, look from what they could do, and look what are you honestly looking for in a tablet. And I think Apple really hit everything on the head here with this new iPad. So anyway, I know I'm gonna get a lot of comments about what I've said here in the discussion, and people, y'all doing a really good job with the discussion, not a whole bunch of flaming or trolling nowadays. So y'all having really good discussions, so please leave your comments down below. But what you think of what I said, give me your opinion. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Or what is your take on it? I can't wait to see what you guys are talking about down there in the comments. And thanks for watching this video, guys, and I will catch you later. Peace.